What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, we have some great news coming out of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. We had a hearing today, finally in court hearing. I actually called in. I think they allow about like 5,000 or more people to call in and listen to the hearing. I called in at 3, then they postponed it at 3:30. So I waited a minute, but finally got it. It was a short hearing. It was about 45 minutes to an hour. So it was just basically on the argument that Bill Himmon's speech was now protected. What the SEC is arguing is that Bill Himmon's speech is now protected under the attorney-client privilege. And why they had the hearing was the judge wanted them to come in and ask the SEC, what's the argument? Because they seem to be back and forth. Is Hinman's speech personal opinion? Is it the corporate finances opinion? Like, what's the deal here? And basically, it started out was like, all right, SEC attorney, give us the reasoning on why you say this is attorney-client privilege. And I just felt bad for this SEC lawyer. This woman was stumbling over her words. She was speaking in circles. She was really not making any coherent, points at all. It was like, I was sitting there like, is this woman really, is this the best the SEC can do? I feel like they just threw out their D team for the day. They threw her to the wolves, basically. Because then Matt Solomon, the Ripple's lawyer, is like this amazing lawyer, comes in like a superhero and just like makes point after point. And it was just like, is this real? Like, is this anybody? And I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but just hearing this, you could just tell that, the SEC's lawyer knew nothing. She just didn't seem prepared. She didn't seem like she knew the law. It was embarrassing. It really was embarrassing. And it was good for us to finally get a glimpse on, what goes on in these hearings. And I'll tell you what, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but it didn't look good for the SEC. And I'm telling you right now, there's no way. I mean, and I have a tweet to show you in a second. There's no way. If by any chance that the judge, agrees with the SEC after this, then we can all say that we live in a fraudulent system and that we should just burn it all down, basically. What else are we going to do? But before I get in the video, I ask you guys, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. So before I get into some of the tweets from some attorneys in the community and other things about that hearing, let's just talk about Senator Cynthia Loomis and Senator, I forget what her first name is, hold on. Kristen Gillibrand. So they had a bipartisan crypto bill that they finally rolled out, and we got to read it. It's a long bill, but I skimmed through it and then, read some tweets about analyzing and what was in it and everything, because it's a lot of legal jargon. It's stuff that you really can't understand. You'd like someone to kind of break it down in layman's terms so you understand what's going on. But what I got out of it was that basically what we've been saying for a while now is that the CFTC should be regulating this space, because most crypto assets are commodities. I think everybody can agree with the fact that 85% of crypto are commodities, right? There probably are investment contracts, more securities looking digital assets out there. And yes, they should probably go to the SEC and register with the SEC. But 85% of digital assets are commodities. They're highly decentralized now. They've been around for 5+ years now. Those are commodities, and the CFTC regulates commodities. So they should take. So what this bill is basically saying is that the CFTC should take charge. And yes, in those, in that 15% or so of digital assets that are securities, that they should be registered with the SEC and whatever, right? But they basically have a clear guidelines on what constitutes a digital asset as a security or a commodity. And that's the big thing that, regulation in this country, the SEC keeps trying to say that everything looks like a security, but won't give us any guidance on why it's a security, right? They say the Howey test, but they only say Gary Gensler loves to just use 1 or 2 prongs of the Howey test, but there's 4 prongs of the Howey test, and that would make it a security. So, if anybody follows politics at all, we know that, a bill gets introduced and it can take years to get it passed. So, are we expecting this to pass tomorrow? No. Is it a good start? Yes. Right? I think Tom Emmer, Warren Davidson have talked about bills that they have coming out too. So it's a good start. From what I hear, like I said, I did skim through it and I've read other people analyzing it. It's good for most of crypto. It's good for the U.S. to start taking some steps forward into really regulating the space. Now, Cynthia Loomis tweeted out this today. Today, I'm introducing the Reasonable, Responsible Financial Innovation Act alongside Senator Gillibrand. The United States is the global financial leader, and it's absolutely critical the U.S. plays a leading role in this new frontier. And I couldn't agree more. The only problem I have with Senator Cynthia Loomis here is that I've heard her speak in the past, and she seems like she's very much a Bitcoin maxi. And, I can't be totally sure of that, but the way she speaks, she acts like Bitcoin is the the one and only one to rule them all, basically, right? And I can tell you right now, I know for a fact that she owns Bitcoin, but I don't know how much she owns, right? So this is where you get in trouble, because someone that has highly invested in a digital asset and then she's making laws about the space, can you really trust her 100%? No, you can't. Is the bill kind of Bitcoin, Ethereum centric? Yes, it is, but it does, it is broader for all crypto, but you can tell that she's doing this on behalf of her investment too. She's a politician. You can't really trust 95% of what she does. So, like I said, is it a good step? Yes, it's a good step. Can you trust these two senators? Probably not, but we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're trying to get, push regulation in this country, and that's what we need, right? So, and on Squawk, both of them came on Squawk Box and gave their little, they talked about what kind of this bill was about and what was in it. And I'll just show you guys. It's a quick 2.5 minute long video, just to give you guys a little bit of see what was actually in this bill.
Senator Gillibrand, let's break it down for people who haven't seen the details yet. I think the most important part is that it declares that things like...
Sorry, if you hear someone mowing a lawn in the background, that's my cousin. I told him I was making a video and to wait, but obviously he did not.
Bitcoin and Ether are commodities, and so they would be regulated by the CFTC. A lot of other things would be considered equities to be regulated by the SEC. How did you come about with kind of deciding this? How much squabbling is there? Because there has been some interregulatory kind of dispute about who should be able to regulate this between the CFTC and the SEC.
The most important goal of this legislation was to create safety and soundness, to create consumer protections, transparency, accountability, and certainty. When we met with industry leaders, they basically said, we just need to know what the rules of the road are. We've been seeking regulation from various regulators, and the delays in response have been unconscionable. And so what we did was common sense. We used existing definitions. If you're a security, you're going to pass the Howey test, which is the securities definition. And for CFTC, we already had the futures market, so we added the spot market for cryptocurrencies. And we look at each digital asset's purpose. And based on the purpose, we aligned the regulatory framework around that purpose.
Already, though, there's squabbling that's continued, that's going back and forth. People saying, look, how can you regulate a decentralized effort to begin with? And by the way, aren't there conditions where some of these things would be considered equities and should be regulated by the SEC? You're right. This has taken a really long time. And the industry is kind of pushing back, and others are too, jumping in on this. I guess that gets me back to that original question, Senator Gillibrand. How much support do you have? Do you think that this is something that the Senate will get behind?
I do, and I think this is just day one, and our goal is to make sure this goes through the 4 committees of jurisdiction. It takes a long time to build a regulatory framework for a new industry. And we expect this to go through the Banking Committee, which Cynthia is on. It'll go through the Agriculture Committee, which I'm on. It will go through Intelligence, and it'll go through Financial Services. These committees will have pieces of the bill because they only regulate parts of this industry. And regulation is necessary. You need to make sure that you have consumer protections. You need basic rules of the road, and that's what this legislation provides. We think there's going to be a lot of momentum behind this bill, having met with most of the industry stakeholders and the experts in this field, and we're just going to work with them over time to continue to improve the bill.
So the big thing I get out of that when I watched it before, when they talk about it goes through the banking committee, the blah 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 committee, this committee, that committee, it's like the political system in this country it moves as slow as possible. I mean, they talk about how we need regulation fast. Like, yeah, we need this regulation. When do you think this is going to pass? Honestly, is it going to pass by the end of the year? Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be 2 years? I mean, the way this country works is unbelievable. The fact that they have to go through so many hoops and just it's ridiculous. I don't understand how they can't just bring it to the committee. You have to send this bill out to everybody. They all read it and then they vote on it. Like what's up with these hoops they're gonna jump through to pass a bill? They know they have to get this through. I mean, at this point, with the executive order we had earlier this year, you can see that there's an effort to try to fast forward this the regulatory clarity in this country, but boy, I have no faith in these politicians in getting anything done these days. I don't think anybody does. But from what you're hearing, it does sound like, yes, this is common sense. I mean, the way she was speaking, it sounds like she knows what she's talking about, and she knows that it should be common sense, and that a commodity should be regulated with the CFTC, and an equity should be regulated with the SEC. But we've been saying that for years, so it's like we've known that for years. So it's kind of funny to think that they're coming on being like, this should be pretty easy. It's like, yeah, it's been almost 10 years since Bitcoin has been out, and still the SEC drags their feet, still the CFTC drags their feet. And like I said, do I have faith in the political system and the way they get things done? Not really, but I guess we shall see. But moving on to what I really want to talk about in this video. So after I listened to the conference call for the hearing with the Ripple SEC, hearing about after I heard the SEC attorney just blabber on about nonsense, here's an attorney, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not an attorney. So here's an attorney, Jerry Hogan. He's giving his 2 cents, and this is this gave me hope to think that, yeah, maybe I could be an attorney, because this is what I thought. So Ripple versus SEC court hearing. You don't have to have a law degree to know how that court hearing went. But it's even worse than it sounded. The SEC took a big step backwards on a key issue video tonight. So if you don't know, Jimmy Hogan has a YouTube channel called Legal Briefs, where he breaks down, because us non-lawyers out here, we don't understand the whole legal jargon and everything going on in this case. But as a lawyer, he breaks it down in more layman's terms so we can actually understand what's going on. But even he says you don't have to have a law degree to understand how that court hearing went, because when I was listening to it, it's like any Joe Schmo on the side of the street could understand that this SEC attorney, you just felt bad for her. She was just, she's trying to make the same point over and over again, that it was attorney-client privilege at the Hinman emails. And it's funny, she was saying that when the Hinman speech took place in 2018, he was speaking on behalf of the corporate finance of the SEC, but it was his own personal opinion. But then she said he was giving advice to the market, but only as for his own personal opinion, but on behalf of the corporate finance of the SEC. So she was like back and forth, like it was his own personal opinion, but it was also kind of the opinion of the SEC. So it's like the judge was like, wait a minute, did you just say that? Like the judge asked her to clarify like 3 or 4 times, like, wait, what? Like you could just tell in the tone of the judge's voice that she was not buying what that SEC lawyer was selling, basically. And then, like I said, when Ripple's attorney, Attorney Solomon, who's a rock star attorney, like just you could tell he's gets paid the big bucks for a reason. He comes on and he's making speaking clearly, making points. Just basically, killed the SEC with his arguments. like I said before, it's just good to get a glimpse on how these hearings are taking place, because, I mean, the Ripple attorneys are like, steps ahead of the SEC attorneys. Like, it's not even close, right? Like, these Ripple attorneys are eating up the SEC attorneys. I think that's the whole thing. Like, the whole story of this case is that the SEC is so used to getting what they want. They're so used to people just bowing down to the SEC because they don't want to go through these court hearings and the money that's spent and all these legal fees and stuff. Ripple took the fight right to them, and yes, the SEC has been delaying, and that's been their only card this whole case. But anytime there's an argument, or anytime there's like a brief or anything to be had, the SEC just gets eaten up by these Ripple attorneys. And like I said, it's just good to get an insight in listening to an argument like this, because if this is how it's been going the whole time, I mean, it doesn't look good for the SEC. I mean, the SEC definitely embarrassed themselves on this in this hearing. So the judge said that she'd have a decision on this attorney-client privilege issue in the next. She said when she's able. So who knows when that could be? Could be next week. Could be in 2 weeks. But I can tell you right now, like I said, she's gonna be in favor of Ripple. And like I said, if she's not, we have problems. But Eleanor Tourette, who's the reporter at Fox Business, tweeted this out at the end of the hearing. No ruling today, but the tone Judge Netburn set throughout this entire hearing is clear. I would be very surprised if she rules in favor of the Hinman documents, on keeping the Hinman documents under wraps after this. That's the same thing I got. I'd be very surprised. Like I said, if it does happen, we should have... Hold on. Oop. Running out of battery. Gotta hurry this up. I'd be very surprised, and if it is, I have zero faith in this system. So, Rachel Renee had a good little tweet that she said about this. So from my humble view, the Hinman speech is like a chameleon, in the sense that it can shift to become whatever it needs to be according to the pressure of that moment. Personal opinion, market guidance, view of the Department of Corporate Finance, it's become a joke, and I hope Judge Netburn comes down hard. And that's what I think too. I think she will too. And even this is what I said about if Judge Netburn actually agrees with the SEC. Judge Netburn should be ruling in Ripple's favor. If she were to rule in the SEC's favor, then that's when we know for sure that she's corrupt and being paid off. I don't think, I just don't think that's hearing Judge Netburn finally. You can tell that she knows what she's talking about. She's very intelligent, and she's very thorough. You can tell, and I just don't believe that she's buying. Like I said, she's buying what the SEC attorney was selling. And even Ben Armstrong. I'll just end the video real quick before my computer dies. But the most frustrating thing about Ripple and the SEC case is that we all know how this ends, but none of us know when it's going to end. The SEC needs to be abolished after this case. It's embarrassing that we have to be exposed. It's embarrassing what has been exposed during this trial, and I couldn't agree more. If there's one thing that's been exposed during this trial, is that the corruption within the SEC runs so deep, and there needs to be something done about it. We will see probably nothing, but at least now we know, right? We know how fraudulent the SEC works. And like I said, this hearing today just justifies exactly what we've been thinking all along. So I'll end the video there, guys. Just remember, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But remember, this is not financial advice. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.